Hello and welcome, guys, to the Blockchain Boys podcast. We are your hosts Ali Solanki and Mujtaba Mirza. And today, for the first time, हमारे podcast पे हमारे पास एक live guest है. So, welcome on board, Calvin. Calvin Dsouza.
Hello, hello.
So,
Hi.
it's yeah, this has been a long time trying to get him roped in, especially the last 3 days. तो finally हो गया ये.
Yeah,
So, why
it has
don't we
been a hassle.
yeah, why don't we start, Calvin, with you? How's life? How are things? And then why don't you introduce yourself and talk about, you know, what you are in the space and
Okay, well, life's good. I've got the week like all to myself at my house. My mother's just gone to my native place, and I'm just chilling here, doing what I do. Um, for what I do, I am a 3D artist, a 3D lead in an NFT in a metaverse project called Aurallia. It's a crypto game that's being built on top of a platform, a metaverse platform called Leapin. And I am responsible for the 3D design of the project.
cool,
So
cool.
currently we are handling all the 3D design and everything for Aurelia right now.
I'm not the only one who's creating the 3D artwork, but I am handling delegation of work among other 3D artists who are helping out with the project. While at the same time, I'm creating 3D models for the project itself as well. Mostly creating large scale complex scenes, like creating the 3D world, creating hero assets, general props, that kind of stuff. We have a whole bunch of people who are official asset creators, and they basically focus on things that they like to do. So we have someone whose main focus is in character design. So they are creating avatars for us. We have someone who has an interest in creating accessories. So then we are creating accessory models for us and stuff like that. So like everyone's got something that they like in the 3D space, like that they like to make, and we're basically like we let them go crazy with all sorts of ideas that they have, and I just try and help manage the efforts on the 3D side of things. Obviously, there's a lot more going on within the project, but yeah, that's what I do.
I think most of our viewers, let's just explain to them what exactly is that we're building on Aurelia, and
Mhm.
Metaverse basically hota kya hai and what all things are going on in that space. Because I think many of the viewers, they don't even have an idea of Metaverse hai kya. They have seen
Right.
those Facebook ke commercials wherein Mark Zuckerberg is actually going into this virtual world and doing all sorts of stuff. But we all know that's not right now going on in the space. It's completely different from what's being shown out there. So can you explain or can you tell us what's actually going on in the working, because you're in the field and actually
Right.
work.
Okay. So generally, metaverse refers to an interactive space. It doesn't necessarily need to be 3D. It can even be a 2D space. You've got like old time MMORPGs that were all 2D, but then there was still a whole world for you to explore, right?
Yeah.
So it's not limited to just 3D games as such. Um, Metaverses have a tendency to be associated to games because of the interactive nature that they have, but that's not necessarily the case. You can have a metaverse that you can have a metaverse project that is basically a museum, and you showcase artworks, whether it's yours or other artists, that doesn't matter, but like it is an interactive space for people to come together, meet each other in a virtual space, talk to each other, and just hang out. um, what makes it different from, say, joining a Twitter space or a Discord voice chat is that you can have all sorts of fun activities that you can conduct over there. You can have virtual contests. You can have concerts. You can have um, you know community building activities that you can conduct if you've developed the functionality for that project.
Mm,
Um, Again, there's a lot of parallels between metaverses and games, and what's what basically puts them apart is the fact that it is built with blockchain in mind, right? With crypto in mind. So
mm,
while traditional games are meant to be either single player or multiplayer experiences that are self-contained or will have some sort of interaction with perhaps sequels or something like that, when you can have same data that transfers between them. Metaverse projects are meant to be compatible with cryptocurrencies and NFTs and blockchain oriented technologies. NFTs being a very huge part of this because NFTs are what allow for us to create in-game items that are actually that exist on the blockchain, right?
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, NFTs are a huge part of metaverse in that sense. They help us define what can be owned, what can be traded, and yeah, there's a lot of utility that will come into an NFT if it is made compatible with some kind of metaverse project, and we're trying to
Mm,
focus on like on increasing what can be considered as an NFT, what can be owned within Aurelia. There are a lot of things that we can do, and we're trying to make sure that it has some genuine utility within the game, and
mhm.
also something that if you want to make a quick buck off, you can flip it as well. So yeah.
Okay, so one of the things I would like to deep dive a little bit into this. So first thing, we made it clear that Aurelia is a metaverse game. Am I right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's a metaverse game. So one of the things to
Hmm.
add on for people who are watching is that I might not be accurate on this one. Is that metaverse, the whole concept in general, it takes out the aspect of having one's physical presence in a certain place. Like
Yes.
that big aspect of key. Like if I have, even if I have to play, like you have these PUBG tournaments, CS:GO tournaments, right? You still have to collectively go somewhere to play the game and stuff like that, even if it's online.
Yep. Yep.
There are very rare instances where these big tournaments, even in gaming, are conducted offline, sorry, wherever you're in the world. So one of the things the
Hmm.
metaverse concept in general has, be it a gaming metaverse or an NFT museum metaverse, is that your requirement to be physically present somewhere is completely gone. Because now
Yep.
you have
Yes.
your digital avatar that can travel to the moon, travel to Mars, another solar system, just by being on
Yep.
the blockchain. So that's one of the things that I have come to conclusions with this whole metaverse thing. So
Mhm.
is that how it is, or do you guys have any other inputs on that?
Yeah, most definitely. It Metaverses are meant to provide a convenient medium for people to interact with each other beyond just voice. So yeah, like in that sense, yes, it does help make things help people to meet each other without actually meeting each other in real life. um, the added bonus is you can do all sorts of things that you couldn't do in real life, like quest together. Like if you've got maybe someone who has the funds and the team to do it, could do like a World of Warcraft type metaverse, and you can go raid together. But that's not. I mean, I don't think that's possible in real life. So
Yeah,
yeah, like yeah, so
yeah.
it's definitely an exciting time um
Be in the
to be a part
metaverse.
of metaverse. Yep. Yep.
Ali, you have
I think,
any thoughts on that? Yeah.
yeah, I think most of the people who got associated with metaverse, they first
Mm-hmm.
had this imagination. At least I did, was जब हम लोग CS:GO के games खेलते थे, या जो भी वो
हाँ.
shooter games रहते थे उसके, so that's how I related it to first NFTs and then the metaverse. So वहाँ पर
Mhm.
जो games खेलते थे वहाँ पर skins होती थी for the game, for the guns and all. So और बहुत सारे ऐसे costumes and character specifications भी होती थी. Those were in-game items that you used to get. Now
Mhm.
those I associated it with NFTs. So in the NFT space, of course, there's a huge thing, a huge market in which you can have gaming items as well. You can have a lot of different things. In the first podcast with Mirza, we had done a what if segment of what if your passport is an NFT. So of
Yeah.
course, yeah, NFT can be like a lot of different things, but for the most general public to understand what an NFT is, I think they mostly associate it with things that they have actually interacted with, or तो वो एक गेमिंग का पार्ट आ जाता है. एंड मेटावर्स आई थिंक this is how I had first associated metaverse with, to basically understand it. वो मेरे लिए गेम टाइप्स था. So a game in which I have my friends, जैसे of course CS:GO का ये एग्जांपल लेते हैं. I have हम लोग एक LAN बनाते थे. CS:GO के भी पहले का बात चल रहा है यहाँ पे. CS 1.6 बोलते थे I guess इसको.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we used to play that game, and उसमें we had to make a LAN, and then वो server पे हम सब मिलकर join करते थे, and we used to play it online, right? And it was a really fun activity. We used to play it every single week, and it was like a ritual for us. Ki every week on Sundays in the evening, we will all come together, have our headsets on, and we used to join our LAN and play it together. So that was kind of like a community for us. कि अभी ये हमारा group है, and we'll be going on and using all of those maps and वहाँ पर खेलेंगे. Now, Metaverse, when I first heard about it, I was thinking of something on those lines, but including the crypto wallets and blockchain technology and all those benefits that it has, including it with the gaming part as well. But when I started seeing things, this projects in the metaverse, I think उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, and I think Calvin, you can
Yeah.
add more to it. But it's not just for games. It's
Oh,
like
no
a
doubt, no doubt.
whole different world. वहाँ पर जैसे आपने बोला, you can have a museum and you can showcase your artworks. With that, I got an idea of why not just अभी जैसे हम लोग portfolio websites बनाते हैं and we
Right.
showcase our arts over there. Why not just have a portfolio metaverse for ourselves and have a room in which we are putting out our NFT collections and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you can go ahead with this on the different benefits and the different features that Metaverse has. I think I'm limited to how much knowledge I have than you, but
I'd say that you're quite right on the money in how versatile the metaverse really is in what you can do with it. Of course, we were talking about games mostly because of the general public, like people who have just gotten into the space will associate them to games, as you were saying, like Counter Strike के साथ associate करना बहुत common है. So that aside, though, metaverses have become hugely popular as virtual storefronts, places where people can sell services instead of products like their artworks. It has become there's a separate advertising space already within the metaverse, and it's already a huge thing. Like there are people. Let's talk about B Center, for example. There are people who would buy a plot and plot a couple of plots, and based on what project that they have. If they have some sort of project that is, it doesn't even need to be a metaverse project. Let's say they're doing a PFP project. They use that plot to hold community meetings, or they do activities together. Initially they'd use it to advertise the project, depending on where it is on the map. If it's very easy to reach, like closer to the center or something, it becomes much more easier to expose the project to people who are just there to explore.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is so much of activity beyond just gaming that it has taken a life of its own. A very good example of a prior attempt to the metaverse before blockchain really became a norm would be Second Life. Are you all familiar with that?
If you
Uh,
can dive a
uh,
little bit deep into that, if
yeah.
you can give us a
I
backstory,
think
Okay.
it's better.
Sure, sure. So Second Life is an extremely old. I think it's more than a decade old attempt at doing something like this, like creating a virtual economy which actually dealt with money, where you can own something, you can own property, you can own plots, and you can essentially, as the name of the game suggests, like, have a second life.
Oh,
um, yeah, it was a very ambitious project back in the day, and I'm not 100% sure. I think it's still around, but it's not really prevalent anymore. But yeah, there have been, like, a couple of times in the years there was news of, like, a virtual house being sold at comparatively similar prices to, like, modern real estate, and it had gotten quite a lot of buzz. But again, uh, crypto has grown far beyond that, and the metaverse is already dealing in far larger values and volumes.
right.
So, like, I'd say while the initial attempt of Second Life was they were ahead of their time, but they just didn't have the right technology to back them up, I guess you could say. And yeah, that's what the metaverse is right now. That's what
Yeah.
Aurelia tries to be right now. So yeah.
I mean, on that note, Ali, क्योंकि हमारे podcast पे this is some a few things that we keep on, reiterating in our podcast is one, the importance of physical growing with the digital, like keeping the physical intact while the digital grows, and the other thing is, widespread fear of missing out, and like the fear of being left back, in this growing space. So one of the things that this whole Second Life thing is like a testament to is that people have been having the fear of missing out in cryptos and in the blockchain space since 2007s and 2008s, right? They thought that they were already late then. And beyond that, like when you talk about the idea of having a blockchain or a metaverse, we have been having Cartoon Network cartoons since the 1980s or 1970s that have this whole concept of spaceships and UFOs that has still not come to fruition, right? But that concept has been there since a lot of time, right? And what the main thing in this space is to be highlighted is to be a part of it, you don't need to be early necessarily. You need to have a good idea, right? And that doesn't come like that does not have any time barriers to it, like कि अभी चाहिए अभी idea चाहिए, the more you work on a good idea and then you come forth with it, because the space is so positive and promising. That's the two words I like to use with this space. The sky is the limit for you to be get accepted in the space, with a good idea. So
It's
having
true.
the idea before everything, before time and all that, that's the key. That's what makes projects successful. So yeah, so you guys have any tips on, like, like I just said, having the idea before anything else. And once you have a good idea, right, in the space, like things come your way, like people to join your project, people to join your vision to make it a reality. So I am sure Ali must have faced these scenarios with his side of things, and you must have faced this with your side of things, like just having an idea and people joining that idea. Can you both give
Yeah.
us like one instances from maybe your whatever you guys were working on, like people started to come and join? Maybe we can start with Calvin, if you like, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I think the best example for me to give would be Aurelia, because Even as an NFT artist, I'm quite bad at marketing myself, and so I've never really got a community or something going behind, like trying to drive my artwork forward. But that's not it's not the same thing for Aurelia. Aurelia does have a community that is backing it and is growing bit by bit. So and I joined in quite early. So one of the first things that I noticed that we did that kind of helped us grow our community was spreading the word about the knowledge, like through word of mouth. We weren't advertising publicly through Twitter. We had a Twitter account, but we weren't trying to get people trying to get people to join our Discord. We weren't joining Twitter Spaces and advertising already. We weren't really going in because it was the people who were already within the Discord. Like it was all friends and family, people who know each other, right? And if we knew any other friend who might be interested in joining the project, perhaps to contribute or to just be a part of the project, we'd talk to them, and if they were interested, we'd send them an invite. And it's slow growth, but it gave us time to really solidify the foundation that our community has really built upon. And even now, after our initial phase of just getting people we know into the Discord, now we have the Discord open to the public, and we're slowly building our numbers. Even then, we're still keeping things timid, mostly because firstly the project is not released.
Yeah.
We are trying to we want people to pour in when we have a product to really show to them that they can join in immediately, instead of having to join the community, wait for it, and then eventually down the line the product is out there.
Yeah.
It's definitely good to have backers, but also it's at the same time it's also a good idea to make sure not to open the floodgates too early. When you do that,
Right.
you get overwhelmed. You have to
Yeah.
then manage your community far before your project has actually started or run its course, and that is unnecessary stress. So
Yeah.
don't open the floodgates too early is definitely something that I would say to anyone who has a project idea in mind, no matter what the scale is. Get people
Okay.
to join in and back you, and yeah, so yeah, that's right.
Right, so just before Ali goes on, so just highlighting a few points here, we have noticed, like with projects, like even with my project, the guys who are in the tech team with me, they said that even if you're releasing in 2 years later, we suggest that open your Discord right now, because it's very hard to create engagement and backing. And it's sort
Yeah.
of it sort of didn't make sense in my head that when I don't have the product ready, and when I don't have everything ready, the utility side of things ready, what will I tell the community to be a part of? Like, obviously I can understand because of the glut in the market right now of these projects just minting and minting and minting, and people who have successful projects, they just keep on making new projects. And because of that glut, now people, everything has a saturation point. Like, people try
Yeah.
and start early on everything, so the time factor comes in again. So that was one thing, and the other thing was Aurelia. One of the most beautiful points I took away from this is it's not necessary the first thing we come to start when we talk about promoting ourselves or promoting something. Let's say I have to promote these AirPods or whatever. I'll take to my social media. I'll take to starting to ask people who I don't even know, to be a part of something. And Aurelia did this beautiful thing that I have been in their spaces. I have seen Calvin speaking and their lead speaking, and the whole beauty of having family involved, which has like no repercussions on you. You feel safe with that kind of audience around you, and word of mouth, which is so strong actually in the real sense, is that you have real people that you really know in real life. as opposed to, not saying that if you get people, the traditional way of marketing through discords and twitters, they aren't real. They will be real, but you still don't know them that well, as much as you know your family and friends. So why not use the biggest assets you have sitting right in your homes, right in your relations, to be a part of your projects? And that was really beautiful, one of the most beautiful things I took from what Calvin said. And guys, we'll link all the links to Aurallia, and towards the end of the podcast, we'll just go through their Twitter too, whatever they
Sure.
have as of now. So all the links of Calvin's artwork, he's still pretty good at marketing himself. So I think,
I don't have a lot of artwork out there. There is a collection that I just started, like, minting and putting out, but yeah,
yeah,
the collection is going to grow soon. So
dude,
I'll start fundraising.
dude, I just minted an artwork that I had listed on Foundation like 1.5 months ago, just
Oh,
waiting for prices to go down. So I just minted that yesterday night.
oh
so
man.
so that's where and I didn't get time to promote it also. So maybe I might hop on Twitter and just start promoting it a little bit again. So yeah, so coming to Ali, your points on a real life situation where you have found, like people join a cause. Any examples you have from your real life?
I would say I would not go on with one specific project, but I'd rather say the YouTube space itself. Like when I'd started making videos on blockchain and cryptocurrencies, rather than doing videos on, say, those traditional engineering kind of topics and stuff, I completely shifted from there. um, that's when I realized that this kind of community or this kind of content is actually much needed by these people, and there's a lot of demand in the market as well, and there are not a lot of content creators who are making such content. That's why we have started this podcast as well. So I the growth of the channel was quite exponential after that point onwards. Plus it was well received in the community as well, and I didn't ever expect that something so niche, something which is like blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and on my channel it was completely development based, right? So something so niche might be viewed by so many people, and there were quite a lot of people who were curious enough to understand what goes on behind the scenes of these crypto currencies or NFTs, or how they are made in the first place. So that was quite a turning point for me, and when I saw the growth, when I saw that okay, people are actually liking this type of content, that's where I saw that okay, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, it is quite in demand right now. It's just that there's not a lot of content out there. So that's one of the things. And other than that, through that community, I've launched like Student Samaj. So Student Samaj, if you don't know, it's a community of blockchain developers and other people who are involved in innovative tech, and we keep on making different kind of content. We are launching its platform as well, and as I said, before we have even launched the platform, we have over 200 members on our Discord community. So it's like really great to see that so many people are involved in this and want to learn more about these things. So yeah, I think that would be my best example, my YouTube channel itself.
Yeah, Calvin, any thoughts on that? Anything you would like to say on that?
Um, I really like the fact that there are so many initiatives that are being taken besides building, like using the community to create opportunities for others to build themselves up. I really love that fact because, I mean, that's kind of the point of community, right? Like we group together to build each other, to pick each other up, and I see the essence of that in your efforts. Uh, Growth is definitely something that you always have to be careful with, as you said, like after the YouTube channel exploded, like it's exponential growth. You, After a point, what you say, what you do, the responsibility gets heavier, and like you have to be a lot more careful with your actions, because now you have a community that is considers your opinion to be valuable, and that brings a real weight to things. And I really uh, using that for good is probably the we don't have superheroes in real life. This is probably the next best thing for me.
With great power comes great
Comes great
responsibility.
responsibility. Oh man.
Okay, that hit the nail on the coffin there, man. Because people talk about like like in this space you have to be more active on like fast content platforms, in terms of Twitter and Discord, and like YouTube isn't that prioritized when it comes to the NFT space, because by the time you edit a video, you make the content, you post it on, there are just 10 new different things. That whole project you just talked about, yeah, just this that just got rug pulled and tanked. so but one of the things I like about I always keep reminding people of is that there is a big majority of population that is still on YouTube, that has still not made that transition from YouTube to Twitter and Discord, right? And that's like billions more than that are actively, active on Twitter and Discord, are watching YouTube. So for them, for those kind of people, like that is a big volume that needs to be catered to. And that's why YouTube is still, at least in my opinion, for the coming 1 or 2 years, still finally people sort of like start getting more into the active content platforms, that it will still be relevant and still an open sea of opportunities. See what I did there? See what I did there? Open sea of opportunities.
Nice.
Open sea of opportunities will flow for any content creator. That's why YouTube is still not ruled out. It's still a beautiful place to be in. I still remember the smile on Ali's face, the smile on my face I had when Ali gave me his first text after I think he had done 2 or 3 blockchain videos, and he got a text from somebody saying, want to be a part of their project, and that time it was like a dream for us to do anything. I just smiled. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then from there, being called to places and being offered projects. So I have seen that journey of his also. So YouTube is definitely a place, the place, after Twitter and Discord, simultaneously to be in, at least for the coming 2 years, in my opinion. So yeah, that was that topic that we wrapped up, and let's move a little bit to the technical side of the metaverse and metaverse projects. So technically, Calvin, you have like worked. You are working with the technical side of things. What skills and what knowledge does it take to make a metaverse project in general? Let's talk about a very basic setup for a metaverse project. Let's say um, just a metaverse world, right? Not with
Yeah.
any games associated, and maybe that we want to have like a museum made, an NFT museum, right? What kind of skill, tech wise, does a project need to make that happen? Can you dive a little bit into that?
Sure. Let's take a hypothetical scenario. Say I'm a one-man team, and I want to create a tiny metaverse world, making a project. The smallest metaverse world that I can create is probably like a single room, and I can hang a bunch of frames in there that are NFTs, right? Um, so to create this, there are a couple of different technologies involved. For metaverse games specifically, there is increasingly high amount of use of Unreal Engine, although its competitor Unity is also quite popular in use for creating NFT projects. So you need to have an understanding of how to use either of these game engines. So development experience is obviously required, not just traditional development, but even blockchain development. That would be specifically for creating smart contracts, right? And interaction with the blockchain, so that you can interact. Like if you want to create a market in your metaverse, you definitely need to know how to create a smart contract. Um, You need to know how to set it up on the blockchain. You need to thoroughly test it out for any vulnerabilities, everything. Like, you need to go through the full pipeline in order to create a solid smart contract that will run your marketplace for you. Besides that, there is obviously a design knowledge that is required, 2D as well as 3D design. So 2D design mainly for, well, say it's a 3D art, say it's a 3D metaverse, then 2D is essentially useful for creating textures, concept art. Maybe if you're working with the larger team, to kind of art direct your way into creating the scenario that you see in your head. So you need to convey that. So 2D experience in 2D art is useful there. Then you've got other avenues like sound, having experience as a sound designer, sound engineer would help you to create a metaverse that is a lot more immersive. And yeah, it's basically it's a bunch of different little skills here and there. A lot of these you can draw parallel to the game development industry. You need pretty much all of these skills to create a 3D game. 2D game obviously does not require any 3D, so that
Yeah,
aside, you still need sound, you still need artwork, you still need say you need a ton of development. So all of
yeah,
these things are still required. 3D just adds that extra dimension, so there's another layer of design that you need to add to it. But nonetheless, yeah,
yeah.
developing a metaverse is highly similar to developing a traditional game with the addition of blockchain development.
Blockchain. Yeah, so basically that's the main takeaway I took from this is that if you
Mm.
have game development knowledge, basically the only main difference is that you need to have blockchain development, right? You need to have
Yes, that is right.
that thing in addition to what you already have. So
Yes.
that's another that's another place where I think tons of jobs and tons of money is like flowing with just having that kind of skill for people available, and Ali
Yeah.
can elaborate on that point. And the other thing I
Yes.
feel about what you just said was in general, basically it's nothing new, right? It's nothing new in terms of the skills that are already available for you to learn, other than
No.
obviously blockchain development. There is
Of course,
nothing
yeah.
new in addition to uh, you know uh, in terms of the skills that you already learn, artists learn for game developments and character developments, etc. And sound design is very underrated. Sound design is really underrated. Like,
Very much so. Very much so.
yeah, it's difficult. I would go to the extent of saying they're almost as scarce as blockchain developers in this space, sound designers.
Even more so would be writers. Oh man, there are so
Oh my
few
god.
writers out there who are on the blockchain, and we need so many more because one huge void within NFT within metaverse games is storylines, right? That's
Yeah.
actually sort of where Aurelia differs a bit. We do have a storyline, and
Yeah.
we're hoping to be one of the first ones out there that has a,
That's really
like
awesome.
a proper game, and but still on the metaverse, like still on the blockchain. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. Ali, any points on the blockchain development scarcity and its importance? Any? Yeah.
So I think I don't have to talk a lot about why blockchain development is so hyped right now and why it's so in demand right now. You can already see, it's being used in game with respect to game development. You can use it to create your own crypto and all of those different side of things, then NFTs and whatnot. So it's really in demand right now. But what I'd say is blockchain development is also not something which is really complex or something that's really different from what developers are learning anyways. So if you see, you need to learn like a Solidity programming language for Ethereum blockchain. So even that, it's quite similar to JavaScript, which almost all the developers who are making websites, they know about JavaScript. So it's not really that hard. And I would actually argue and say that for a person to learn blockchain development, if he already has the knowledge of, say, web development and other sectors like mobile app development and stuff, if he already has that knowledge, he can easily learn blockchain development in just say 1 week or 2 weeks. That's it. That's all it requires to at least know the basics, at least be able to make your own smart contracts with which you can then interact with, say, game design and make your own metaverse, or you can make a smart contract for your own DAO or something. You can make a smart contract for crypto, NFT, whatever you want. Basically, you can do that. So I think even blockchain development is really similar in terms of what has been taught to the developers and what they are actually learning. So it's not that difficult, it's really easy.
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
I do have
Yeah.
a question for Ali actually with regards to this. What to what extent do you think is experience of crypto finance important to become a blockchain developer? Does it have a huge influence? Like, if you have experience in crypto finance, your league's better than your fellow blockchain developer, or is there no difference whatsoever?
There's a huge difference actually. So I have people like I know of developers who are really good in the technical part of the things, and if I tell them, okay, these are the things that needs to be done, they'll be able to do it, right? So they are
Mhm.
quite good at that. But then when I compare it with someone who knows about what's happening in the blockchain field, who knows about, okay, say there's a particular contract of, say, Aurallia comes on live mainnet, right? And I've been following Aurallia for a long time, so I would know, okay, these are the things that has been done in the development of Aurallia, and now I am capable of making something similar on the same lines. Because on blockchain technology or on blockchain right now, there are so many different projects coming up, and there are so many new ideas that are being shared. If you're not updated with those ideas, then you're basically lagging behind. You have the skills to develop those things, you have the skills to
Mhm.
actually make those things happen, but you don't know what are the things that are happening right now. So
Yeah.
I think having the basic knowledge, like, you don't need to go full in depth about the development part, but you need to go full in depth about what's been happening in the blockchain space, and what is even the finance part as well, crypto
Mhm.
finance and DeFi space, all of these things. So if you're getting into, say, metaverse, then knowing about what are the different metaverse projects that are out there and what they have done differently. So yeah, knowing about those things really helps.
All right. Great. Thanks.
That's awesome. Yeah. So one of the things that I sort of took away from this is another important part of being a blockchain developer in this space is that you have to realize it's not actually a one-time thing. Like it's not like you made an automated process and that works for you like throughout the lifetime of the project. The importance of being a developer right now, at least at this stage, where not we don't have those many already one-time automated projects like they will run for life, is that you constantly need to improve your I don't know if you can improve smart contracts. That's an artist making a dumb statement in his head, but you have to you have to improve on something, right? Technically all the time, you'll be having bugs, you'll be having community feedback, you'll have to improve. Like platforms like Nifty Gateway had like shit websites till like at least till late last year, sorry, late last month, and they had like 2-3 months ago revised their website, and then things started to become like, even with platforms like Crazy Ideas, you have to have that constant development on backend. So it's not a one time thing. It's like when you get these opportunities right now, you will constantly be in the mix of whatever project you're working with. So that way it's very different from most of the project based you know opportunities or jobs we get in the real world, where you have like a project, you are with the company for 2 months, you're done, and then khalas, you're out on the next thing. So that's the beauty of blockchain, that you actually make long term connections with people there. You actually make connections for life. It's not a one time thing. So that in turn increases your own um, repute and all that stuff. So yeah, that was my take on this whole uh, blockchain stuff. And so, moving on to one last thing before the what if segment is that we will talk about Nike and Adidas, who just entered the blockchain space. It's just going crazy for the last few months. So, while I share my screen, Calvin, you have anything to say about this?
Well, it's definitely a very huge thing, because um, having large companies investing into the crypto space like this is going to it's going to bring a huge number of it's going to bring a huge influx of people into the crypto space that haven't probably even heard of it in the past year, right? And you know that they are going to they're going to come here out of loyalty, and like if they stick around, they're going to stick around because hopefully the idea is that they come in out of loyalty to the brand, and then they stick around because of how interesting the experience is. I am hopeful to see how far they go, Adidas and Nike go with this. But yeah, like for now, I'm just gonna wait and watch.
Yeah, really quickly before Ali, you put in your words. It's like, so these guys have 4.1 million followers. This is like a proper brand getting into the hype, and actually adding value to whatever is going on. One of the things in fitness, that's my niche, bodybuilding and fitness. I talked about is actually having replicas of physical merchandises in AR and VR. Like you have your belts, you have your clothing and stuff. And clothing was a big part that was already covered by brands, big reputable brands, and Adidas hopping into the sports side of things. Adidas and Nike also have their, it is slowly becoming more clearer for my audience, that is bodybuilding and fitness. And that's one of the things that I feel is definitely a step in the right direction for including clothing and physical wear, accessories into the metaverse. And yeah, basically these guys partnered with their first metaverse land with G Money NFT, Punk Comics, and the Board APR Club, BAYC, which are like some of the most successful and ever forward in the space. That's what Adidas have collaborated with for their metaverse. And I never thought, so even on their as you can see, it's co.in, so on their Indian website also you have metaverse, so like catering to an audience of what 1.9 1.8 billion people is also something that these guys have done before. So that way they have amazing sense of community building and giving back to the community and stuff like that. So that's what I feel on Adidas. Ali, your opinions on this, crazy venture?
So when I first heard about Adidas and Nike getting into this space, I kind of knew this will happen at least in the future, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon. So that was something really blown away. Like I was blown away with the news itself. I was like, no, this can't really happen. And then I was on Adidas's Twitter page, and I saw their profile picture changed into
A
PAYC.
board ape,
Yes,
yeah.
that board is NFT itself. So I was quite blown with this. And I think there's a lot of things that will happen. We have, in the past podcast, we had talked about decentralized, places getting into um, which are like centralized organizations. So centralized organizations like Adidas or something like that, which are operating in the real world, they will be partnering up with decentralized organizations and doing stuff like that. And as we speak, we just see, Nike, Adidas, all of these organizations, all of these big organizations getting into it. So quite hyped up for it. I'm pretty sure there's quite a lot of things that needs to be explored, and there's a lot of things that can go from here.
Yeah, right. Right on that note, like Nike, instead of taking the Adidas approach, they basically bought a project. Like they bought the whole project. It's That's the name of the project, RTKFKT, RTFKT.
Mhm.
So basically, centered again around AR and VR. Inclusive, including all that stuff in the accessory game and stuff. So uh, that's two different approaches of doing it. One is collaborating with projects, and the other one is just straight up buying a project, and which has already a
Mhm.
good idea. So when I looked at this, right, when I saw this, one of the first things that came to my mind was, okay, if the project is launching now, and if it's at this scale, I could easily imagine that, behind the scenes, Adidas have been working on this at least easily for the past 6 months. At least for the past 6 months,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
that and 6 months, rewinding 6 months back, where we were in our heads, we were like, why aren't people like Adidas looking at this? Why aren't influential people, like, why aren't companies like Google into this already? What's going wrong? And now you start to realize that these guys have been in on it even before we, it even came to our in front of our eyes. So yeah, that way I feel like, a majority of these companies that, be it sports, or even in the food and beverage industry, foods and beverages, they have already been onto this, since the beginning. You never know if Gary Vee called Gary Vee called these guys up and told them, to just buy it, which is what he did with like top YouTube influencers and like the top billionaires he was in contact with. So I wish somebody bought floors of our projects like that, like Gary Vee does with, so yeah,
No doubt,
that
no doubt.
yeah, so that's like the peak of marketing. And also, yeah, the sky's the limit for these projects. So anything else you guys want to add in before we close this segment, we wrap this up?
I think
I
uh,
Oh, please go ahead, please.
no, from my side, I was saying, I think I've almost covered it all. What about you, Calvin?
Hmm? Oh,
What about
well,
you, Calvin?
yeah, so with regards to Nike and Adidas kind of getting into the NFT space at the same time, obviously, like, they are in high competition with each other, and their competition is only going to drive them to do more, I guess, outrageous things within the crypto space. And as we go into the new year, we're probably like, it's definitely going to be a very different the crypto space is definitely going to be very different compared to this past 1 year. um, One thing I do always worry about is centralized organizations coming into the crypto space at any level, because crypto spaces in general, just blockchain and everything crypto, their focus has always been decentralization, right? Having huge brands like Nike and Adidas definitely brings a lot of people, it brings a lot of money into the community, and it is most definitely going to be great for the crypto space in the long run. I just hope to see them like, not clash with the DeFi as part of crypto, though, because if that happens, you essentially they'll probably end up dividing the crypto space into two. One which is fine with private companies coming into the crypto space, buying up a project and, like, just making a name for themselves, like just growing the popularity even more, and then you'd have the other people who are not fine with it, and, like, they're going to resist it. So that kind of divisiveness is, I hope that doesn't happen, because that kind of stuff is harmful for the crypto space, I think.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
in the end, yeah.
yeah, yeah, right. I mean, on that note, one of the things why people are skeptical about Facebook's metaverse, as opposed to what the Winklevoss twins are saying, is just that in its truest sense, the Facebook metaverse is not that decentralized as people think it is. Like
Mhm.
it still has a big monopoly over the people who are going to enter the metaverse, and the
Yeah.
debacle comes when you have that kind of power over people who have chosen to be decentralized and don't in its real essence know that they are actually under still semi-centralized sort of governing. Then it again comes back to who is having access to your info, who is having access to what kind of place you're working from. And when it comes to the
Mhm.
metaverse, now people will start to have more info, physical details about you, instead of just like the just the paper details of your date of birth and stuff like that. Now you will have like
Mhm.
more access to people, and that's where it starts getting dangerous, if it's
Yeah,
not properly
especially
decent. Yeah.
especially considering especially considering how important anonymity is considered to be in the crypto space, right? With the more information about yourself that you need to put out there, the less, the more scarce anonymity becomes. And one thing about anonymity is that it gives people the freedom to explore different things that in other situations maybe they couldn't, for some kind of reason, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely a little troubling, but I'm still hopeful for it. I think
Yeah.
positivity runs through my veins because I'm part of the crypto
Crypto
community.
space.
And
Oh my
yeah,
god. So I mean,
um,
just that just adds to like your portfolio of positivity and being a positive person. And I have had like all you need to do in this space, even if you're not truly decentralized, is just ask politely. Just let people know. Be transparent about
yep,
it. Like that's
yes,
what
yes, so true.
that's how basically we met Calvin, right? I met Calvin by just going in his DMs shamelessly asking him, "Hey, you're from around town, I think so. Let's meet up." So that's just being transparent, right? That's simple, and that's something that Facebook has been sued for and penalized for in the past before metaverse projects, and which will become a big problem for them if they continue that inside the metaverse. So
Yeah.
security and having holding people to their right of privacy is really important. So Ali, any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on um,
I think
transparency? Yeah.
it was perfectly put that there are pros and cons to this. The
Yeah.
entire brands coming in on the metaverse projects and the crypto space in general as well. Plus, crypto was actually thought of, and the idea around crypto is decentralization. If all of these brands, all of these companies with huge inflow of capital, they come in and take over like big projects, it'll be really difficult to have a proper decentralized approach to it. So yeah, I think it's a pro. There are pros to it, there are cons to it, but yeah, I'm hopeful for it as well.
That's great. That's awesome. So, just giving in a small background on how we actually met, all three of us. So, I knew Ali from the start, and I was happening to listen about Aurelia, on Twitter when Calvin was speaking, and I just thought that this guy sounds desi. He sounds desi. You have to sort of you have to sort of put that instinct on your mind, and
Yeah.
that everybody desi knows how desi people connect. So then I was like, that's nice. So it's something different. Maybe I can ask him where he lives. And turns out the guy lives like 4 blocks away from us, and we're like, let's make it happen.
What a
So
small
we,
world.
what a small world. So what do you guys think about the meeting digital people in real life, keeping up the physical with the digital? Calvin, go
I
first.
think Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Ali can go first when you're ready.
yeah, please, Ali, go ahead.
Yeah.
So I think this is the perfect example of what will happen in the metaverse as well. I think even though as much as we promote and push online meetings and online doing everything online, I think there will still be that space where you're meeting your friends online, but then you also want to meet them offline once in a while, right? You want to actually know who's behind the screen and who is actually operating that character in the game or whatever it is. So I think that thing is not
I'm
going
really
to
sorry for this. One of the
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
I'll
it's
be
okay.
back in a second.
We can,
for
yeah, we
sure.
can pause it. Take your time. No, that's fine. That's okay.
Pro of having no one at home is you don't get disturbed. Con of having no one at home is you get disturbed.
It's all right. Okay, so that was a wrap for that. So we move on to our last segment, which is called the What If segment. So I have something prepared for you guys. I don't know if you guys might know what it is, but any case, you guys have to give your views and opinions on it. So, for today's What If segment, have you guys heard of the game Ready Player One?
Yes, of course.
Which one? Ready Player
Ready
One.
Player One, yeah. There has been a movie made on it too for people who are not into like the metaverse side of things yet. So that's basically the metaverse, okay? So Ali, to give you a short background in this game, basically जो metaverse games होती है ना, it is basically the whole thing is a translation of that कि तुम्हारा तुम्हारी conscience कुछ खेल रही है, ठीक है? तुम्हारी conscience एक दुनिया में है जो कुछ काम कर रही है, रह रही है, जिंदा रह रही है, okay? So the question is, what if you were a character in Ready Player One? Okay, how would your day look like? How would your average day look like? So, Calvin, you want to go first, or you want to take some time? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, let's see. Um, if it is Ready Player One, first of all, like just very with the metaverse, there's so many things you can be in the first place, right? I think if I had to be a character in Ready Player One, I would probably end up being like a ninja or something. I've always loved ninjas, just like the concept of how they came to be and like the history and all that. And so I'd probably do that. I'd probably be a ninja, like an assassin for hire or something. uh,
Oh my God.
um, yeah.
No, or be a pirate looting Ethereum off of somebody's.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I'm definitely not like I don't want to I'm very against player versus player combat. So
Yeah.
it's very counterintuitive that I would be an
Yeah.
assassin for hire, but I'd say I would be a good let's say it's like some sort of raid party or something that you're having, then
Yeah.
I'd be the one who scouts ahead and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
silently takes out those who are like trying to snipe you or something like that. I don't
That
know.
sounds so crazy. Oh my God. So, like the
Yeah.
first thing that comes to my mind when I think if I am a player in a metaverse, the concept of waking up is like, do I have to wake up? Am I waking up? Like what? Am I going to have food? What is going to happen? Like, okay, after a point, I'm like, the worst fear of being a player in a metaverse is like, what if I have been talking to a person who is not that person, this whole while, like we have like dark Netflix series made on this stuff, like you're talking to a character, you feel he's your best buddy, turns out he's some 80-year-old dude, who is in his end life crisis, just talking his heart out to you, and you're like, oh my God, I was thinking something different. So yeah, Ali, any thoughts on being a
I think that one thing that happens with this is okay, there is one segment of it where you're talking to someone and you don't know who that person is. That can be a bot, which is just AI
yeah,
driven, and
Yep,
they're
yep.
just talking to us, and we are spending time on that. But it can also mean that if you're actually talking to a human, your first seeing their personality, the way they talk, the things that they have to share. That's what you're seeing before seeing the physical appearance, or
Yeah,
judging by, so that really has like two sides of this conversation. One
yeah,
side where you don't know who that person is, and you can't really judge them, so you just have this one thing to judge them on, which is their personality, the way they talk, the way they interact with you. So
yeah,
that's one of the good things. And then there's another thing, which is, of course, you never know you're talking to someone who is not a good person in real life, maybe, or something like that. So yeah, there's the two sides of it.
yeah, yeah. So
I
yeah,
I definitely say, like, a decade of being on the internet has probably given us enough experience to be able to discern that much, I'd say, at this point. But
yeah,
again, if it's going to be at the level of Ready Player One, like, it's not like you're seeing a profile picture and you'll be like,
right,
that might be fake. It's going to be an avatar that you see, and there's no way to know whether that's, like,
yeah.
I don't know the gender. I don't know the gender of that person, but I'm not going to be able to make it out anyway, because the voice that I hear as well is generated within this game. So,
No more,
like,
no
yeah,
more, no more he or him, no more she or her. It's they.
it's a
It's just
spectrum, my
they.
man. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum.
Yeah, right, right. So that wraps up the what if segment. And just before we leave, I'll quickly go through Calvin's profile, Twitter profile, so you guys can follow him.
Oh boy.
And you have to give us a rundown of your profile, Calvin. Don't mind, I'm in
Oh
the
my.
same boat as you.
Oh
The followers,
yeah.
the followers don't matter. The will matters. Like emotion, समझना चाहिए बंदा. So yeah, he's our fellow Desi.
um.
You can see his artwork, it's crazy artwork. Wow.
If talking about emotion, I think the artwork that you're seeing right now kind of sums me in the crypto space quite well. If you would put the audio, you'd basically just hear one continuous scream.
Oh my god, it
And
just screams. Oh my god, it just screams. Guys, if it were not for the visuals of this NFT, it would be something really dark, But thank God for the visuals. Thank God for the visuals. So
yeah, exactly.
this was in collaboration with Dsouza.
So
One of the
yeah,
things I
yeah.
always joke with this guy is croissant. He has that thing
Uh,
himself. He something like people keep don't pronouncing my name properly. So that's Dsouza. That's Calvin for you guys. An amazing, incredible artist working from India. A live example to show you guys. There's ton of potential in this space. From wherever you are, in whichever corner of the world you are. All you need is a good idea. All you need is some skills that you're constantly willing to learn and develop on. And let's quickly go on Aurelia. Aurelia has their own.
yep. It's Auralia.
Aurelia. Yeah.
There you go.
I was thinking I know the spelling. Yeah. Okay, so that's Aurelia, and you can see there. I love the
That's
look
a,
of.
that's the world map here.
I love the look of this. I love the look. It looks like I'm going on like a treasure hunt or something. Like it.
Yeah.
It looks really good. So that's Aurelia, guys. All of these will be linked in the description below. They have their own Discord that you can join too, and they keep that quite active, decently active. As you can see, 23 hours, 10 hours. So these guys are decently active. You can reach out to
Oh,
them.
if I might add, actually,
It's all
since the
yours, bro.
last time.
It's
Oh
all
yeah,
yours.
thank you. Since the last time that we met, there's been a lot of changes to the project, improvements rather. The first one mainly being that the Aurelia project is now going to have its own blockchain.
Oh.
Oh my
Yep.
god.
That.
So we are a recent addition to our team, a couple of additions actually. First one being Rima. She is a crypto lawyer. She is going to be handling our the finance and the legal side of Aurelia, and she is an amazing person. She's a very sweet person, and she's basically taking care of tokenomics, the legal side of things for Aurelia. Keeping the project and the artists who are associated with the project safe. And the second person who's been added to our team is Nick. Now, I don't know how much you might know about the Dogecoin project, but um, so the Dogecoin project, in after the developers had released it, after there was a point of time where the founding developers had left the project and the coin was in decline. So Nick, along with a couple of other blockchain developers, actually went in as volunteers, and they were the ones who kind of brought the project back up. So this is someone who has worked on Dogecoin, and
Yeah.
he is now our CTO. He is handling uh, development of a token for Aurelia. He had a blockchain project that he was working on, which is now being tied to our project as well.
Oh,
And yeah, we basically got a lot more things planned on the crypto side of things. That
utility. Yeah.
yeah, utility wise, that Nick is going to be handling. So yeah, just a couple of things that I needed to add, but
No,
yeah.
that's it's all yours, bro. And the fact that you said that there's somebody on your team who basically salvaged a sinking project. It's like I have seen projects in front of my eyes that because of not having that transparency within the team, anybody and everybody who is sort of bought into the project just starts selling away and like wanting to get out of it, because that's the last thing they want is like distrust within the team. And like having
Yep.
people who are actually in it not for to make a buck, quick buck, and then just rug pull everything off, is it's truly gives a lot of credibility to the project and gives a lot of security and hope for the people, because at the end of the day you guys have all right to rug pull. You guys can just rug pull and you guys can go. You guys don't need to deliver anything. That's the downside of cryptos, that you aren't actually promising anything to the people unless and until they, even after they purchase your NFTs and stuff, there is no promise that anything is going to be delivered. It's all based on the the emotional bonding and the hope that the community has in you. So
Yeah,
that
and
way,
it's
yeah,
the trust that you have to build
trust.
up with the
Yeah.
community as well, right? Like, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's Aurelia for you guys, and as you can see, a very promising project, very promising members, team members on the project. Definitely, uh, let's all follow them on Twitter and join their discords. जो भी ये लोग देख रहे हैं, हिंदी में भी बताता हूँ, तो ये ऑरेलिया प्रोजेक्ट थी। तो अगर आपको इनको फॉलो करना है, इनकी प्रोजेक्ट है, इनका अपना ब्लॉकचेन होने वाला है, अपनी टोकन्स होने वाली है, तो इस स्केल पे मैंने किसी प्रोजेक्ट को देखा नहीं है काम करते हुए। और अभी तक इन्होंने अपने आप को फुल स्केल पे मार्केट भी नहीं किया है उस
Yeah.
लिहाज से। सो द स्काई इज़ द लिमिट फॉर दिस प्रोजेक्ट गाइज। सो at the end, I'll just quickly show you guys. This was my last piece that I just minted yesterday. So it's called Where Do I Stand? And आपको आपको अगर इसके बारे में पढ़ना है, इस प्रोजेक्ट के ये पीस के पीछे की जो आइडिएशन थी, थिंकिंग थी, वो आप जाके पढ़ सकते हैं। So I'll quickly do this because it resonates with whatever we spoke about. So in a race of constant comparison, today's man more than ever faces emotions like fear of missing out, not being enough, emotions that are self-induced and ultimately end up in a man remaining in his bubble. To the third eye, you may look unreal, amazing, an array of accolades to describe your personality. But none of it matters till you win your own battle inside you. Um, this piece is an ode to the famine of confidence, that last drop that you may need to finally detach the strings of self doubt to grow beyond your wildest dreams. सो बेसिकली सिंपली पुट कि हम लोग जो भी एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं एज आर्टिस्ट और एज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस स्पेस इन आर डे टू डे लाइफ एंड इन जनरल इन लाइफ इज़ दैट कभी कभी लोग जो देखते हैं वो असलियत नहीं होती, और कभी कभी जो हम लोग होते हैं ना, जिनकी असलियत वो चीज़ है, वी शुड ट्राई एंड गिव आवर सेल्व्स अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ लीवे. वी शुड ट्राई एंड फॉल बैक, रिलैक्स समटाइम्स, एंड नॉट टेक थिंग्स टू आवर हेड. relaxation is very important, mental clarity is very important, just on and off, look at what you guys have already achieved, in the past or whatever. People who hold you high in their eyes have a reason as to why. So people usually have high standards to compare themselves to. That's good, you have to have big goals, but at the same time you have to know that it's a slow process. It's a process where you take time and get better. It's not overnight. सो दैट्स द टॉपिक्स जो हम बात करते रहते हैं, इंटिमिडेशन, फियर ऑफ मिसिंग आउट, ये जो भी हम बात करते रहते हैं टू रिमाइंड आवर सेल्स, ये हम लोग खुद को एक्चुअली रिमाइंड कर रहे हैं, शेमलेसली रिमाइंडिंग आवर सेल्स ओनली, बट या इफ़ यू गाइज, अगर आप लोग को अच्छा लगा ये पीस, यू गाइज कैन रीड इट्स डिस्क्रिप्शन, इट्स लिंक डाउन बिलो टू, इट्स ऑन माई ट्विटर टू, एंड we'll quickly see Calvin's piece. I don't know, what's your foundation ID?
So it's calv underscore el
underscore el
underscore Dsouza.
Yep.
There you go.
There you go. Awesome. And follow you. Oh, this is awesome. Okay. So Calvin's, here are some of Calvin's pieces. This is ये Calvin ने दो जो अभी हम लोगों ने देखा. So this was amazing. So I don't know if you have a description here.
Not really. I'm not. Oh no.
I look at me here. I'm like, oh my god, the strings attached to my life, and going deep into this. There is Calvin. It's just a sausage party, guys.
I don't have. Oh god, no, not sausage party. Oh, that's gonna bring back some drama.
Oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. This I don't really my artworks, my art pieces are not really very profound, because most of the time it's just me exploring, what I can do. It's an exploration of my technical skill rather than an exploration of emotion for me. The emotion comes after I've made it. I'm like, ooh, does this evoke some kind of feeling in me? Like, if it does, done. That's it. Does it look good? Done. That's a ready piece of artwork for me.
That's awesome. At least this artwork don't got no sausages in them, so.
Yeah. This is a very old piece, actually. This was back when I had joined the crypto space back in March. At the time,
I can tell by seeing that reserve price that you joined.
It was not as expensive as
yeah.
My God. And after a point, I felt, rather trying to change the price and just sell it out. It's probably better to keep it as that, because that's what I saw the worth of this artwork to be at the time. And again, if we compare it to fiat currency, obviously the value keeps increasing. But if you look at it purely from from the cryptocurrency standpoint, then its worth hasn't really changed, right? It was 5.5 ETH before; it's still the same. And I mean, if the right collector comes along, they will have it. So
definitely, the sky is the limit, Calvin, especially for your nature of your artwork, which has actually, there are a lot of artists that sort of want to stick to their niche of artwork, and you sort of being explorative. So one of the ways I handle this kind of stuff is that I used to have, rest in peace, a Hicket Nunk account for Tezos, which is Hicket Nunk is no more. So
I mean, like, you've got the object.com.
Yeah, object.com.
And it's sort of back as well.
Yeah, no, just to give people the element of, like, I have been in this space long enough where I have seen Hicket Nunk, but yeah, so I used to diversify based on my different artworks on different blockchains, like I used to have the 3D kind of stuff on Hicket Nunk for cheaper, and like the word art NFTs on Calamint and stuff like that, and my normal fitness related on these Ethereum blockchains. So this is definitely another way of, like, you don't need to stick to your niche, one particular kind of niche in even on a same blockchain. So Except
Yep.
that this is
So
expensive as hell. So you might.
I'm sorry about that. Compared to that, if you see the wormhole collection, there's only one piece that's just been recently minted.
Wow.
There are going to be a lot more pieces that I put out in them. This again, a lot of these pieces were made back in March, April, and all that. But I've started recently, I've gotten back to the collection, and I've started
Awesome.
growing the number of artworks within them. The concept behind this is very simple. It's basically looping videos
Yeah.
that if you look at them, they will be they look like
Wow.
some kind of
Wormhole.
a wormhole into the metaverse. That's
Right.
that's basically how I explain.
Yeah. Ali is trying to make sense out of his blockchain mind out of these what are these artists doing here? What am I doing? So
I'm so sorry about that. Oh man.
so yeah, guys, that's Calvin. He's just a sleepy boy chasing his dreams, and that's his art. It's amazing art. You guys definitely give him a follow, and we'll definitely have Calvin on off and on, in the future too. This has been, I think, to this date, one of the most enjoyable podcasts. I think, Ali, that's safe to say, the
Uh,
most enjoyable podcast.
sure, sure, of course.
So
It's been a pleasure to be a part of this as well, and I look forward to being a part of more episodes as well.
sure thing.
Have more interesting discussions. Yep.
Sure thing, sure thing. And
Uh,
and next time we'll try to have a live podcast. I don't know how to what degree that's going to be possible because all of our busy sis can't can't find time to get together, even if we are even if we are 2 blocks away. So yeah, that the metaverse is basically for people like us. Get
Yep.
God damn it! It's like
Hey,
the
you
whole.
never know. Maybe once Aurelia is released, we could have a podcast recording in one of my shops or something like that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing.
yeah,
That'll be
of
the
course.
Yeah, I could.
first podcast to be recorded in the metaverse. Boom.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
us.
In fact, you know what? I could have one of my shops just be like a studio space. So we basically just use that to do recordings. That could be something.
Yeah, yeah,
That that's
of
that's
course.
one way. That's one way of hooking up a podcast. That's definitely that's that's definitely up there. Yeah, man. All on board for that. So yeah. Moving out. Any final thoughts? Any final words? Calvin, you can go first. Ali, and then I can end the podcast.
Well, there's a lot of changes coming to the crypto space. Just within the past month, as we've seen, you've got Meta, you've got Nike, you've got Adidas, you've got a lot of companies coming in and changing the nature of the crypto space. There will definitely be a little bit of nervousness around changes like these among people. But as far as I've seen, at least in the past year, following the crypto space, I have a very positive outlook towards how things will turn out. Um, Even if there are momentary lapses where things aren't going our way. Um, for the Indian crypto community, I think my biggest concern would probably be the crypto bill.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole. I think we don't have the time to get into, but
yeah.
again, I'm trying to be as positive for
Correction.
it.
Not a rabbit hole. A wormhole.
Oh, it's a yes. Yep, that's true.
Well, all the NFT artists who have shilled their souls away, all of them know the pain that I'm going through right now. Welcome to the Shill Club Part 2.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, getting back to the point. Yeah. It's definitely
Yeah.
not the wormhole. Yeah.
It's yeah, but there's definitely a lot more concerns for the Indian crypto and NFT community regarding the crypto bill. I'm still going to be as positive as I can
Yeah.
for looking forward to the outcome of it. In February in
Yeah.
the February here
Yeah, I
in my
think
time.
Ali can give
Yeah,
us a better. Ali, it's February,
yeah,
right? Yeah, it's February.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
yeah. I
So
think I think so. Having you on board talking about metaverse and the behind the scenes mainly, because we guys, we are seeing it from the outside. We are seeing it happening, and all of these different projects coming out, having Nike, Adidas, all of these news coming out as well. So we know it from the outside, but you giving in the inside parts of it, and how metaverses are developed, or how these things actually function, what goes on behind the scenes, really helped a lot of viewers. And I think everyone who's watching this podcast as well, they might have gotten a lot of insights from it. So thank you for being on the podcast, sharing your insights, and we will soon be
thank you for
having
inviting
you.
me.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you
will
so
soon
much.
be having also for the podcast on the metaverse, we will soon be having it as well. So let's
Yep,
note
yep.
that Aurelia will
That's
be
the
Give,
there.
man.
give, give me plans for what all you need in there. I'll start making the models for it, and I'll just see, like, keep things ready. Yeah,
Awesome.
Oh.
That's great. That's great.
yeah,
That's a whole new what if segment in itself. So we'll definitely take our time. So
yep,
yeah,
definitely.
thank you so much, Calvin. Thank you so much, Ali. Thank you so much, myself, for being a part of this. So always give yourself credit, guys. So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the Blockchain Boys podcast. That's episode whatever it is, and the best episode till date for our podcast. Hope you guys like the podcast. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys share the video. Hope you guys comment below, join the Discord on Student Samaj, and follow all the links. Support all the artists present and whatever was talked about on the podcast. And until next time, Taurus, Mirza here, signing out with Ali Solanki and Calvin Dsouza. Have a great time, guys. Good night. Take care. Bye bye. Awesome. We are
Oh,
done.
I'm so sorry about the whole thing with the bell. There was this
Dude,
delivery that was supposed to come.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
okay.
god,
dude,
that was
my
so.
my sister was screaming in the background like there was a murder happening in the house. I was just like, should I get up? Should I get
Oh
up? Should I get
no!
up? I was like,
Oh shit!
but yeah.